SANParks estimates that close to 1 million plant species have been poached and illegally exported to Europe and the Far East. The last 5 years have seen an alarming increase in poaching of indigenous plants. The bulb species has been hardest hit due to its popularity on social media. And for more on this conversation, we are now joined by Cape Nature Conservation Manager Leon Muller, and he joins us now via our video link. Leon, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. I mean, more than 1 million plant species have been poached or illegally exported. This is a major concern for the country.
Yes, for us as a conservation body, and as a country, it's a serious threat for our indigenous biodiversity.
What would you say has given rise to seeing so many of our indigenous plants being illegally exported or poached?
With our succulents occurring mainly in the succulent Karoo biodiversity hotspot, which we share with Namibia, 40% of those species, that's around about 2,500 species, are found nowhere else in the world, and only some of them are even what they call narrow endemics, which only occur in smaller restricted areas. And this makes them highly collectible for serious collectors.
And how are they then poached?
Currently, you see, what has happened is that most of the succulents are actually poached by order from the same syndicates middlemen that are recruiting some of the local population in the areas where these succulents occur, and then they are provided with a perfect description and a locality of where these plants occur, and they go out, and then it's mainly at night, or where they go into the areas utilizing technologies such as GPSs to walk in straight to that locality, removing these succulents then from these areas.
How much are poachers paid to conduct such a thing?
That's difficult to determine, but the local poachers are not the guys that are getting the big money. The big money is more for your end countries where they are being sold in, for instance, like in China and the Korea, or on the internet, which is very popular at this stage, where most of the illegal plants are being sold, but they are not getting millions. The local poachers are being paid anything from 50 Rand to a plant to up to, depending on the species. If it's a very scarce species, it can even go up as far as 1,000 to 2,000 Rand a plant.
And what does then this do to our country? Because, I mean, these are quite special plants to South Africa.
Yes, these plants are our indigenous inheritance, and the loss of these plants is a loss for the country as such. It's a permanent loss. We've already lost for instance, 7 conophyton species and 2 subspecies of the conophyton, which are gone totally from their natural habitat. And several of the other species have also been poached to the brink of extinction. This has a serious effect, for instance, on our tourism economy in the rural areas in which these plants occur. These plants can rather be traded here in South Africa, where the income comes back, and we as South Africans reap the economic benefits.
And what would then be the right channels to follow, and why is it that we see many taking this route to avoid actually going through the proper processes of importing these indigenous plants?
You see, what makes them, it's the collectors and overseas that are basically causing the illegal trade. They are not prepared to buy small cultivated plants that are cultivated in nurseries, because some of these plants have specific characteristics, especially in nature. Some of them grows extremely slow. For instance, some of the conophytums can take up to 100 to 200 years to get to a certain size, and this is what makes them ideal for the collectors, and they are not prepared to wait 100 or 200 years for the plant to reach that specific characteristics.
And how do we curb, these crimes taking place, particularly looking at such indigenous plants in our country?
Yes, it's an extremely difficult job to curb this poaching. The syndicates vary their modus operandi on a regular basis. The target species vary quite regularly. They move the focus depending on what the market is looking for at that stage, and but with good cooperation between the conservation bodies, the SAPS's Stock Theft and Endangered Species Unit, and other law enforcement agencies, we are trying to make a serious impact into the illegal activities. But it's the terrain in which these plants occur is extremely in very rural areas with very low capabilities of monitoring what is happening there. It's mostly a lot of these plants only occur on private land of farmers, and where these guys then actually enter into these areas and then strip the areas of these plants. But we are slowly but surely making a impact on the illegal activities.
And as nature conservationists in South Africa, what would you like to see happen to protect the indigenous plants?
Well, at this stage, we would like to. We are seriously too few people on the ground to make a serious impact or try and stop the whole illegal activities that are taking place. We would, the resources, as any of the government agencies, we have a serious constraint on resources, manpower, financial resources to, for instance, to buy equipment to monitor or to make use of technology to be able to monitor these illegal activities, such as thermal drones, night sights, that type of activity or equipment that we are in need of, but which the government at this stage is in serious lack of funding to be able to fund these resources.
Leon, thank you so much for your time this evening and just giving us an explanation there when it comes to the protection of our indigenous plants. That is Leon Muller. He is the Cape Nature Conservation Manager, just talking to us there about the poaching of indigenous plants in the country.